Okay, room review number 6. We are having some technical difficulties today, so I'm going to talk about the room that I'm reviewing first and talk about some tips for this type of room. And basically what I'm talking about with this type of room, it's a breakfast room, which is kind of in a traffic pattern of a home. And it also is a home that has many children. By many, I mean 4. Yeah, 4 children. But that also means that those 4 children have friends over a lot. So there can be quite a few children in this home from time to time. So having a good traffic pattern, having enough seating for everyone, having furniture that's easy for kids to handle, easy to clean up. These kids range in age from 2 to, I think, 15. And actually they had an exchange student for a while, and he was 18, I believe, or 16, 17, 18. He's 18. Anyway, there's a very big range of family members living in the home. So taking all that into consideration, you want, if you're using fabrics, you want fabrics that are easy to clean. You want, like I said, furniture that's easy for kids to handle themselves, and the ability to flex and have more space, like at a table. So when I show you the movie, when it finishes uploading, the movie's not so long today, so I thought I could take a little while talking at the beginning here anyway. A round table is really a great thing to have for something like this because you can fit more chairs around it, and focusing on a pedestal table because you won't have the legs around the table interfering with adding extra chairs. Using chairs that are armless really helps because then you can always put in more chairs, even totally unrelated chairs if you needed to add more chairs around the table. And you'd be surprised at how many chairs you can fit at a round table. So definitely before you get too many chairs that will live around the table, try them out, see what works, and then you can always have extra chairs that you bring out of a pantry or, somewhere else. Maybe they sit over by the door that you pull over to the table if you need to. Just remaining flexible, but having too many chairs in the vicinity there will also block up the traffic pattern. So this space is actually a continuation of last week's space because it is attached to the living room that we looked at last week, the great room. So it flows right into that space, and I advise using some of the colors from the space that we looked at last week. So I think we are ready here. Let me go to share my screen, and we'll begin. Okay. So, as I said, the room we're reviewing is a continuation. So this comes off of that room into the dining area, the little dinette. There's actually a formal dining room also. So I love the interesting floor here. So it kind of makes you not have to have a floor covering with kids especially. That's nice. We talked about the backs of the chairs. You might want to do something a little bit lower if you want to keep them. These actually have arms, which I don't recommend, but I'm showing you actually here a lot of seating around a table. And also look at the curtains that are hanging here just in the bay, which I think is a really nice touch that I'm going to mention. They have beautiful windows around this breakfast nook. So there are some valances at the top that I would advise taking down if you were going to do something like this. But hanging the curtains high and kind of framing the nook is a nice idea. And they've kind of done them in a shade similar to the wall color here. So it does just add a little texture. Here's another example of a nicer, I mean, not nicer, but a nice chair that you could do here. It's got a little space, so it doesn't feel as solid. It's probably easier for kids to handle. This one has a little more wood to it, still with a comfortable seat. You could look at like a Parsons chair that doesn't have any arms to it. Here's a couple different colors in this. And here are some other options with a little bit different shaped back. This back is a little higher, but it is a smaller silhouette, so a child could easily manipulate and maneuver the chair. And they're soft because they're upholstered. But also think about the fabric. You can get them custom covered as well to have a pattern if you'd like. I like these a lot. These, I believe, are from West Elm. But that color there, the coral color, would pull in their colors from the living room, which would be really nice. And then these are some interesting ones from Anthropologie. They look comfortable, they look easy to handle, and they have some really interesting fabrics on them. So that can add some pizzazz to your dining table. Moving along, let's see. We're going to look now, I think, at the wall over here, and that's what I was talking about, the cornice at the top of the windows there. That would come down if we put up curtains, so we'll look at that in a minute. Over here in the corner they have some family photos, but you could also put something like a hanging plant right here, a trailing plant, something to add some greenery, some life to that corner to kind of energize it, without taking away from the images that you have on the wall over there. And again, you see the cornice up there. We might need to, maybe we move the images over to that side wall if a curtain went up, and then maybe there's a plant just standing on a stand in the corner there. I love how many windows there are in this room. I think that's fantastic. Looking at the table, I would do a slightly smaller table. They have 6 chairs around this table now very comfortably, and as I said, they would need to have 6 to 8 chairs at any given time. They also have a formal dining room. So I would probably do a slightly smaller table and make it a pedestal table so it can be a little more out of the walkway. And you could do this nice wood color here, or you could also do a lighter shade to kind of play off the trim on the windows just to lighten the corner, since there is the darkness in the wood on the floor and stuff as well. Okay, I'm not sure if I loaded this picture correctly because I don't think it's supposed to be Ken Burnsing. This kind of shows where the curtains could go, within the bay. And then I'm also suggesting that this is a perfectly nice chandelier. You might want to do something unexpected with the chandelier here, like something just a little bit off the wall. Like this kind of incorporates the same idea, the same colors, like they've got the wrought iron like they have in the living room, the different ironwork. It still kind of pulls that in, but it's a little bit unexpected. This one maybe is a little bit more rustic looking, but again, I don't think we saw the chandelier in the other room, but it is kind of similar to this, a little bit more refined and dressy. So this would be a kind of unexpected, more casual version of the living room chandelier, a little bit smaller. I do like that Lazy Susan in the middle, especially with a big family and your meals family style. That would be fantastic to have in the middle of the table to be able to put everything on it. If people can serve themselves. I love having flowers or plants in the middle of the table. Anywhere you can add plants, I think it's always a good thing. Plants make life better. But as far as adding color or anything in the room, you could, like I said, do some chairs. You could do placemats that you keep on the table. You could add curtains. You could also add a rug. If you did not like having that much of the grid on the floor there, you could add a rug, and maybe you add the coral color from the living room and pull that in on the floor in the breakfast room. But with kids, you want to make sure that they can get the chairs in and out easily, and cleaning the floor if things spill. I think that can, sometimes rugs can be a pain with that. But that is the room, and I think it's a beautiful room as it is. But just to recap, I would recommend getting a little bit smaller pedestal table so you can fit a lot of chairs around it. The lower back chairs that are easier for kids to move. Add some color in the chairs or a rug or curtains. Add a plant to the wall over on the side there. If you decide to do curtains, hang the curtains high to frame the windows in the bay. You could also do the curtain on the side too, the window on the side. Oops, I went too fast. Well, I will post those in the in the group. Let me see, maybe I can go back for just a quick second. Okay, here we go. Keep a good traffic flow. Pull in colors from the adjacent room, and consider a new chandelier, and maybe that can be your something unexpected. Just adding something quirky and unexpected in that small space could be an interesting thing to do. Okay, so come back to me. I think we're back to me, even though I can't see it. So thank you so much for joining me. And remember, if you would like to have your room reviewed on Room Review, send me an email. Well, you need to be in my group, so you can join my group, High Vibe Home, and send me an email with a 60-second landscape movie of your space, and put in your title for your email, put Room Review, and I will review your video and let you know if you're in the queue. So thanks so much for being here, and I will see you next week. This is always the part I can't do.